also informing that it has been notified by the United States government that some of those people that are coming back are presumably related to delictive and criminal activities regarding to the Tren de Aragua. As we know, all our institutions have combated and defeated that criminal organization in our territory, according to proofs that the Venezuelan justice system has proven that this criminal organization had been activated by sectors of the opposition to spread violence within our country and to facilitate the life of the heads of these organizations to our other countries like the United States. After great efforts, Venezuela is now one of the safest places in the world. Before, these people were interrogated, and when they arrive to the country, they will be subjected to the justice system of the country. Venezuela ratifies what had been conversed with the special envoy of the United States regarding the Tren de Aragua topic that was spread by the communication media to penalize all the Venezuelan migrants and to stereotype and stigmatize the migrants of our country. On the contrary, Venezuelan migrants are hardworking people, and the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, has reiterated its goals to continue cooperation in respect of the sovereignty of the country and with cooperation mechanisms in terms of security and to combat the criminal organizations and also the organizations linked to the Coyotes networks that have been linked to heads that are now in the United States and in our country. Venezuela ratifies that in the framework of its peace work, it will continue to maintain direct links of communication between the Republic of Venezuela and the government of the United States. Caracas, February 10th, 2025, from the Ministry of Popular Power of Communication. That is something that we are sharing with all the people of Venezuela in an exclusive information.
Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez arrived in India to participate in the third annual edition of the Energy Week and to review issues on the bilateral agenda. The event, to be held in New Delhi from February 11th to 14th, will be attended by more than 75,000 experts from at least 120 countries, during which Vice President Rodriguez will present the Venezuelan model to overcome imperialist sanctions and blockades, which has allowed the nation to open its way as a key player in the world energy market. India and Venezuela maintain brotherly relations and share views on international political and economic issues.
We are living the day after, meaning the day after the election. Yesterday election were ended up with a tie between the first two contenders, or the first day going to the runoff, and the month of April, the 13th of April, where the president candidate Daniel Noboa and the challenger, the correísta Luisa González, are going to face again, face-to-face, to dispute the presidency of Ecuador. They had already participated in an election on October 2023, would give the presidency to the current president, Daniel Noboa, for 51, almost 52% against 48% of Luisa González. Today, Luisa is insisting that she is victorious, that she is completely convinced that they, meaning the Correísmo, are going to recover the presidency after 10 years, from 2007 to 2017, where President Correa was leading the destinies of the country, and where mostly all the indices were improving. We're talking health, we're talking employment, we're talking security, education, housing, and they're trying to reproduce again the same idea of caring about the people more than caring about the capital. That is exactly what they try to denounce that is taking place in this government. Most definitely, according to what we have been talking to analysts, says that it's going to be an uphill battle for Daniel Noboa because there are several issues in terms of country situation that are going to be blamed on him. For example, there is a crisis of energy, there is not enough energy, there have been blackouts for weeks before the election, and that could be again the case given the fact of the droughts that they're anticipated that could happen before the day of the runoff. In the case of Luisa González, the challenge is that she is going to fight not only a candidate, it's going to be a candidate that is at the same time the president, and it's being denounced that he's using the resources of the state, the resources of the government, in order to benefit for his presidency. Definitely, it's going to be more and more important the alliances that each of those two finalists are going to try to get, and it's looking like Luisa González could make an alliance with the one who finished in third place in the election of yesterday. We're talking about Leonidas Issa, the candidate of the indigenous movement Pachakutik, that he obtained 5.6% of the vote in the election. So if you start to add up, they could make the 50% plus one vote that they need. So situation is fluid, but those two campaigns are already working on their strategy to try to get the presidency in the April 13 in 2 months from today. We get back to you now.
Thank you. Thank you, Gestoso.
Thank you very much. There's definitely no time to waste running for the runoff of talking about April 13th. That means 2 months from now, after the first round that give a technical tie between the candidates, President Daniel Noboa and the challenger Luisa González. Mostly here we're talking about two individuals, two candidates that ended up their voting with 44% of the votes. Just 0.5% of difference between one and the other, and some votes are still being studied to be counted. So there's not really definite result, but the strategies in each of campaigns have already started, and the key issue here is the number 3. We're talking about Leonidas Issa, the candidate of the Pachakutik political party that represents the indigenous population, very important party and very important segment of the population of Ecuador. Leonidas Issa got 5.6 percentage of the votes, and that 5.6% of the vote could be key to reach the 50% plus one of the votes in order to reach the majority. Well, it seems that in a way the progressive or the leftist candidate Luisa González has already in the past, in the previous months, established a relationship with Pachakutik. So there's a certain hope that that sort of political agreement not to fight against each other that they supposedly did in order to reach this first round is going to be working in favor of Luisa González. So far we know that the candidate itself, Leonidas Issa, has already mentioned that he will not ask his followers to follow Luisa González, but he mentioned that he will leave to his party make that recommendation. From the end of for the other side of the political spectrum, we're talking about the President Daniel Noboa, radio silence. Since yesterday when he got the information that he that he was spreading the idea that he was going to win with 51% of the vote. Things went sour, went north, and he disappeared. He was supposed to give a speech, a press conference immediately after the results. He disappeared this morning. He was not still in the radar, and the political party that he belongs to, the ADN, assessed the results of last night as definitely a defeat. He was completely convinced that he was going to win this election in this past weekend with 51% at least. Well, things send a message, the citizenship send a message very, very powerful that having all the advantages that he had, one of the richest person of this country, his father is the richest, and using the government and the state in his favor didn't work as he wanted to. We go back to you now.
In Bogota, Colombia, trial against former President Álvaro Uribe resumed on Monday with in-person attendance of the former head of state. Before the court of Polequemao in the Colombian capital, Uribe faced a trial against him for alleged procedural fraud, bribery of witnesses, and bribery in criminal proceedings. The victims of the case requested international observation to ensure compliance with justice and respect for the judges and magistrates who have intervened through the process. For his part, the former president maintained the discourse on his alleged innocence using social networks and public appearances to reinforce his narrative.
And the human right needs universally. The Bolivarian government is also informing that it has